let's head into the papers now, see what the headlines are this morning. And I have with me in the studio to do justice to understanding all of this journalist Charles Ideho is here, and public affairs analyst Olade Indiario. Gentlemen, Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year, yes, exactly.
Like yesterday.
Oh, yes, it's just like yesterday. We're in another year now. It's interesting, isn't it? Right. Okay, because the Hamatan is also there and making it real.
Yes, that's right.
Let's start from Daily Times this morning. Daily Times is the newspaper we're starting with, and it's talking about 2023. Why President Buhari won't handpick successor. The presidency is trying to give some explanations here and says President would also not hand over to looters. Okay, that's the Daily Times. I guess this will interest my guests to talk about this morning. From there, the blueprint is next. 24 hours after killing Captain, 3 soldiers, suspected bandits stranded in Niger search for food. Okay, and Ondo APC chieftain kidnapped. Zulum accuses security personnel of extortion in Borno State. Okay, that's the governor there. That's from the Blueprint newspaper. Let's go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust, governor nabbed soldiers, police extorting travelers, and passengers forced to sleep on the open, or sleep in the open rather. Okay, this happened in Borno State, where it was alleged that soldiers and security agencies were telling drivers to bring out the national ID card or pay 1,000 naira. You know, the governor heard and had to go there to rescue, and he did. All right, now News Direct is next now. CBN releases guidelines on Nigerian payment system risk. Okay, that's the News Direct. And from there, let's go to the Nation newspaper, and it's talking about new minimum wage. Labor draws battle line with 26 states. All right, the states that are already paying the new minimum wage, Lagos and Kaduna, and states yet to start talks at Cross River, Kogi, Taraba, according to the paper here. And talks have been concluded, but, you know, payment system might commence soon. Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, and Ebonyi State. All right. That's what's on the front page of the Nation newspaper. From there, let's go to the Punch. The Punch is the last one we're seeing now, Operation Amotekun. Southwest Amotekun, exactly. You know, I love Yoruba names. It's really interesting. Operation Amotekun, all right. And the Southwest to train OPC hunters and others. Inclusion not for economic interest, says Gani Adams. Operatives shall be carefully screened. That's the Dawn Commission is saying this now. Operation Amotekun will be launched on Thursday. That's in about 48 hours from now.
Yeah, that's right. All
right, we'll wait to see how that pans out. All right, gentlemen, I guess this story will interest you because a lot of people have started the rhetorics and all of the, you know, the talk about 2023 has started already.
Yes.
And right now, whether the president has interest in who should take over from him at the end of the expiration of his tenure is one thing. Whether he is the kind of person who is not interested, please, politicians, go and play your politics, is another thing altogether. But let me start with you, Olade Indiario here, when it comes to the issue of successor. How involved should an incumbent be in choosing or be interested in who succeeds him?
You see, for me, it's a pipe dream.
Okay.
If you express interest in who comes after you, you may assume that is your man and that he will carry on with your plans
and your legacies,
forgetting that whoever has a mind of his own and definitely will have his own game plans too. So he may just play along with you, secure the tickets, get voted in,
and unfold and unveil his own agenda.
Dump your programs wherever and start doing whatever he likes. We saw it when Yar'Adua became president. A lot of what Ojo did then were reversed, okay, and he moved on. That's one. Number two, if I am the sitting president of Nigeria today, what do I care who comes after me? Yeah, it's a turn-by-turn thing. I've done my bit. Let me go and rest, except where I have something to hide. Therefore, he must be charged because I know him. He cannot be mine because he's not my friend. You understand? Unfortunately, it's an evil reflection on what democracy stands for, that you're expecting a single man out of the assumed 200 million to determine who comes after him.
Right.
I mean, it's unacceptable to me.
All right, Charles. Some people say it is just too early to start the talking about 2023 when this administration is not even up to a year old.
But people need to start early.
Okay.
So they need to start early because if you don't start early, you get choked up, you get hooked up, you get.
You're taking on our wares.
Yes, exactly. And then you get you get there's a word they use in computer. You get locked out. Okay. You get locked out from the system.
Okay.
So, but let me tie into what Rio said earlier. He said when I heard that word, he said the president should handpick. I mean, that word handpick is undemocratic. So it's a term that you use in a monarchy. So a monarchy where you know that there are no democratic ethos, there's no system where you say, okay, put the institution in place where people have to choose.
Where the kingmakers
exactly
just choose
good.
handpicks
So
or in the military.
So I think it was Tunde Bakari that came up with all these things, and then it's not dominating national discourse. What I think should happen is that let us strengthen the existing institutions. We already have parties in place. The APC is the government in power right now. The party is there. They have processes of choosing whoever, their candidates. There's a process where people will pick forms, and then when they pick forms, they go through screening. After they've gone through screening, and then they go into primaries. So from the primaries, somebody will now emerge that will now fly their flag. That's already a process of succession. So while we are now saying, as Ariyo said, that one man will now be the be-all and end-all of all of us will fight behind him. Baba, who is going to be your next?
Give us somebody. Exactly.
So, honestly,
all right.
So we should rather be strengthening the institution so the institution can
determine all of that.
Yeah, that's it.
I think.
We're going to organize the
that's
it. All right. But if this headline is anything to go by, the presidency saying, I will not handpick my successor. It means it goes a long way to
what I said
in tandem with what you're saying. Let institutions handle that.
We should strengthen the institution.
He may pick somebody somewhere. Pick what he want.
No, he may influence.
Happy New Year! Seeing you for the first time this year.
You are still in the Christmas mode. This green and all that.
No, this is not, if I had red on. If I had red on, then you know that I was dressed up.
This is not Christmas green.
No. No, it's not. It's just green.
You're
Just leave my green alone. All right, so let's head straight to the papers now. And I begin with the Daily Times. 2023, why Buhari wants handpick successor presidency, says president will also not hand over to looters. And to the front page of the Blueprint, 24 hours after killing captains, 3 soldiers, suspected bandits stranded in Niger, search for food. Ondo APC chieftain kidnapped. Zulum accuses security personnel of extortion. To the Daily Trust now, governor nabs soldiers, police extorting travelers, passengers forced to sleep in the open. And on the front page of the News Direct, CBN releases guidelines on Nigerian payment system risk. On the front page of the Nation newspaper, new wage labor draws battle line with 26 states. And there is a table here how they stand. States paying wage, Lagos, Kaduna, states yet to start talks. We have Cross River, Kogi, Taraba, and the likes, where talks have not been concluded. Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, and a lot more states there. And finally, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Operation Amotekun. Southwest to train OPC, hunters, others. Our inclusion not for economic interest, says Gani Adams. Operatives shall be carefully screened. Dawn. Gentlemen, I'm certain this story will interest you. The story on the front page of the Punch newspaper talking about Operation Amotekun that will be launched on Thursday. That's some hours away from now. But I wonder how this comes to you, because there have been concerns raised by Yoruba group, the Afenifere, saying that the governors, the Southwest governors, are not really paying that commitment. It's more like lip service, so to speak, coming up with this, that they should push more the ideology of regional autonomy than coming up with this. I wonder how this comes to you, Charles.
Okay, well, first of all, let's look at it. At least we're starting from somewhere. It's not in the constitution for you to have state police or regional police or whatever nomenclature. But I do know that a body such as this can do well to complement the efforts of what the regular police are already doing, and particularly as we are being buffeted from the west, from the south, from the north, everywhere. I say we are being caved in. So such a thing can allow us breathe, so to speak, in the southwest. But what of course needed to be done is the training that they are going to be taught. So Afenifere has its own right to talk. Concept. But I do know that even we can't just go regionalism or something by one fell swoop. So there must be a process put in place. The constitution is also there. You need to also tinker with it in order to allow for this. But the way they can't use this to complement the effort of the regular police and all other security agencies in order for us to see how issue of security can also be tackled here in Southwest. If you look at when you go to some of these states, you see the influx of some of these elements coming in, taking over bushes and forests and building even camps at those places, which of course has fueled the issue of kidnapping that has refused to go in some places of Southwest like Ondo. So if we don't have these people included, these people are locals. Okay, so they know the movement of everybody. If anybody comes into town, for instance, whose face is not familiar, for instance, they can question them, but they may not have the right to arrest, but they could supply useful information to the regular police. And so I think it's a way to go if we encourage them. So Afenifere should just give them a space to breathe. Yes.
All right, let's get your view on this.
Now, where is the Amotekun idea coming from? We have a body in the Southwest that we call the Dawn.
Dawn Commission, yes.
Dawn there is the agenda for Western Nigeria, right? It's been a think tank, and I'm proud to be a part of Dawn. Okay, but you see, security is not an everybody's forte. Okay, it's a specialized area. Now, the elements that are comprised of Amotekun, LPC, majorly hunters, they are not professionally trained security operatives.
Which is a concern to some persons.
I'm with you. Now, I would have expected that the authorities putting these things together would have, in a way, get the police involved.
But they're involved.
They are working in tandem with the police.
When you say they are involved, they declined. It was in the news that they declined, that they cannot
because these people are not trained.
But they now want to train them.
Agreed.
Wait. Right. I would have expected that before launching out. Because what they have done for me is putting the cart before the horse. You should have cleared that area. You should have gone through some basic training now. Otherwise, they themselves, they are in greater danger than the people they want to protect.
Really? How so?
Oh, yes. Because you don't just come. Let me give you an example. I've been to this where a security guard with no arm, nothing, would be harassing people as if he has some authority. The other day, armed robbers came to the street. An unarmed security man went to confront them. They shot him, and he died carelessly.
And so that is the
He had that psychology, that mentality that, oh, I'm a security man. But what did he know? Nothing. Or let me say, next to nothing. For me, training is important. Number two, who are these people you are gathering? Have you profiled them? Do you know who they are?
They are going to be
It's important. You must do quality vetting and screening before assembling
which they have said they will do.
But see, if
those are
I'm allowed
critical
to
things I want them to address.
Yes, that's right.
We were here.
Are you saying they should have addressed that before the launch?
Before coming out. We were here when OPC split into two. We had the Grenada faction and Fashion faction. They came very close to this place, destroying things along the expressway.
That was then.
Excuse me.
That was then.
If it happened then, it can happen again. So in picking people, you must be very careful of the characters you are banding together. That's why I said they should have done their homework, profile them, get them properly screened, okay? And then you can now bring them out. It's important.
Look,
now,
see,
they cannot work in isolation of the existing security structure.
Of course, they are to work as complementary.
The thing is this, look, we must look. I think being pessimistic can never get us to the next point.
Have I
it's just raising his concerns.
That's it. But what I'm saying is that because if you read that report, all these fears he's raising have been taken care of. I'm not from the Southwest, but I live here. I earn my living in the Southwest.
He is a member of DON.
He is.
Yes.
No.
As a professional security
that's what I'm saying.
Practitioner.
What I'm saying, if you look at the report,
this is not right.
Maybe you look at the report. If you look at the report, they say the Bekoyas and all of they are going to be trained and there will be proper screening.
Of course.
Which is already been put in place.
Which we have been saying.
Exactly. So the thing is this. I said they are going to play a complementary role. All the OPC talked about it, but if you look at the modus operandi of OPC of today, it's different from the one of the one talking about. So I don't think we have any cause to begin to raise unnecessary emotions concerning.
We should be confident that they will do what they have been saddled to do.
They should, because
so be optimistic. That's what Charles is saying.
Five states, our sisters are joined together.
Yes,
all of them don't have their sisters.
Come
on, don't leave there.
We have to leave it at this point. Be optimistic. Well,
be optimistic.
Well, all of those things are in the mix.
Right.
No one knows how it's going to be.
That's
you
fine.
could wake up, it goes down. You could wake up, it goes up, and so on. All right, let's see what the Daily Times is saying this morning. That's where we start from. Daily Times is focusing on 2023, and it says why Buhari won't handpick successor. The president is giving some explanations here. It says president will also not hand over to looters. Okay, so he has an idea of who falls in that category. All right, the Daily Times that's what the Daily Times has. Blueprint is where we go next. 24 hours after killing captain, 3 soldiers, suspected bandits stranded in Niger search for food. Ondo APC chieftain kidnapped. And Zulum accuses security personnel of extortion. Zulum is the governor of Borno State. All right, from the Blueprint, let's go to Daily Times. Daily Trust. Daily Trust says governor nabs soldiers, police extorting travelers, passengers forced to sleep on the open, or sleep in the open rather. And this happened in Maiduguri in Borno State. We're talking about Governor Zulum of Babagana Zulum of Borno State. Certainly this will interest my guests to talk about shortly. Okay, let's go to News Direct now. News Direct says CBN releases guidelines on Nigerian payment system risk. Okay, from there we'll go to the Nation newspaper, and the Nation is focusing on the new minimum wage. Labour draws battle line with 26 states. Okay, from there let's go to the Punch. The Punch newspaper is talking about Operation Amotekun. Amotekun. All right, Operation Amotekun, that's Southwest to train OPC, hunters, and others. Inclusion not for economic interest, says Gani Adams. Gani Adams is the Aaron Okakanfo of Yoruba land. Operations operatives shall be carefully screened. That's the Dawn Commission saying this, and the Dawn is the collection of the states in the Southwest put together. All right. Gentlemen, let me take you to the story on the Daily Trust that says the governor nabbed soldiers, police extorting travelers, and passengers forced to sleep in the open. We know how cold the Maiduguri region and the whole of the northeast, parts of the northeast right now. Exactly. So in the last few days, some videos have gone viral of different high-handedness from operatives or police or military and all of that. Charles, let me start with you on this. I wonder what you make of this.
Well, I think it's not something that we should applaud, but we can attempt to trace the history of this. You know, the military government of those days was over a long time. So even when we embrace the military rule, all the vestiges of military rule, civil rule. I mean, sorry, when we came about the civil rule, all the vestiges of military rule, we did not demilitarize our minds, we don't demilitarize our psyche. So we retain all those vestiges.
But I wonder how that would have been possible, though.
No,
when it comes to demilitarizing.
Okay, for instance, do you know that even wearing a man of war uniform, it gives you that confidence, gives you that superiority complex over everybody. Okay. Just uniform. Right. It mentioned even when you go to banks, all these guys who are there with just uniform, they think they are higher than you. Where, okay, even if you look at it now, do you know that where the all this thing come from? Even our president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. You still see him, you still see a military man standing behind him. It's a civilian president. So it comes from there. That when you wear uniform,
but it certainly wouldn't have been a civilian standing behind the president.
No, but do we need somebody standing behind him? Does that make, even if somebody doesn't stand behind him, don't you know is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? When you go to UN, do you still see people standing behind another president? That's what I'm telling you. That we refuse
but
to
also,
let go.
you mentioned the UN.
That's what I'm saying. We refuse to let go of that aspect of the military. Because when you say you are commander-in-chief, you say has someone standing behind you. It doesn't have to take. That's what I'm saying that.
But that's not only applicable in Nigeria.
Okay, let's also look at what happened here. I think they say it's this long bridge in Lagos. Okay. Where you have military boys. They just came over there and stopped traffic. They were daring drivers to come. Why?
Exactly.
Because
that video went viral.
Because they had what? Because they were uniform. So all we need to do now is that it takes you, takes me, take his support to all of us to now begin to demilitarize our mind. Okay. If not, we won't get out of it.
Olade, this is his primary constituency to a great extent. Talk to us about
this. Very quickly. It is not the people that needs to demilitarize their minds. Okay. No. Okay. It is the military, the police, and other agencies that have to understand that they are under civilian authority. Okay. They are not above the laws of the land, neither are they any superior to an average civilian on the street.
But can one really change the way a military thinks?
Can we? Till date, they still enter downfall buses and refuse to pay. They say staff. What makes you a staff? You are paid the way others are paid. So if others will pay transport fare, why not pay? The video I saw this morning was of 3 policemen harassing one young man in Enugu.
And they had guns.
They insisted they must open his phones. Less than a week ago, the IG came public and said, nobody has the authority to order you to unlock your phone. I would have felt that if you had any suspicion about the guy, simply ask him to follow to the police station, where he will be headed out to the DPO and they can go on
and take a statement.
Not the beating, battering, and all of them were armed. It was one elderly person that intervened.
Yes.
Only God
and he was even ready to pay.
Yeah,
exactly. I wonder what he was paying for, though.
Mike,
although I wonder what he was paying for.
He wanted to pay for his life and his liberty. If you were in that same shoe, and you are helpless.
And you have gone.
Do anything to buy your liberty and your
all right.
freedom.
Okay, but there's an aspect. Let me quickly say this.
Yeah,
when he said that the military needs to demilitarize their mind. How about civilians, Mike? You have a house. What you put there is a military zone keep up. That's civilian. In those days, it used to be dogs. Beware of dogs.
Beware of dogs and snakes.
Military zone, that's civilian. Okay. Because when you see military zone, there's the fear that come, Oga, this place don't near. But that's civilian. So
before we forget, let's go back to Borno State.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Where the governor.
It's been in the news, but thank God it came out now.
Yes.
The first time I heard of it, I was, must they do this? You were sent there to go and maintain sanity and make people safe. And it was people were traveling for the holidays.
And we're asking drivers for national ID cards.
And if you don't have, you pay 1,000.
I don't have national ID. Because I had the old one that took me tears and blood.
I have the paper.
Are you sure you're Nigerian?
Well, call me a Ghanaian. I have the paper. So you see, thank God that the governor had to. I mean, he ran into them.
But does he have to take the governor to
Must
get
he get that far?
Does he have to get the governor to get there?
Somebody somewhere. I mean, anyway, I still tell you, we need a lot of mass enlightenment in Nigeria. A lot of people need to be talked to. They got to understand that they don't do that. This morning, there was a report on the radio station that Apapa is hell. At every point, the Navy is collecting some money, the police is collecting, all of them there. If you doubt me, go to Apapa and see. We cannot move forward living like that. Let government machinery come up. I mean the NOA. Yeah. Let them begin to mass campaign so that people can know their rights. They also know their responsibilities because they go together. We cannot continue this way.
Right.
I lived somewhere for 7 years. I never saw a soldier nor a policeman. The only day I saw a traffic officer, I was lost. And because I didn't speak their language, I had to go there and they directed me, and that was it. we should go back to that level.
All right. When we hear of Amnesty International accusing the Nigerian military of some high-handedness and all of that, many of the times they come out to deny and so on. Now, let us even keep the Amnesty International away and come back home to Nigerians themselves making complaints.
Yeah.
Exactly. This has made the headlines.
Yeah,
now
but at least the military.
what should the military hierarchy
Okay, what
do
the
in this
military needs to
regard?
do now, as he said, they need to understand that we're no longer in a military era. That civil rule is superior over the military, okay? Because they have to subject themselves under the authority of the military rule. If not, I'm sorry, of the civilian rule. Because even when we look at sometimes you know that even when but I do understand this issue of staff when they enter bus. Even in the U.S., when you find military men, they want to board aeroplane. Civilians will allow them because of what they are doing for nation.
Yeah,
but here,
it's more of veterans, people who have retired from the service.
Here they claim it and even
let the system give that to you
So
as a privilege.
Exactly.
Not entitlement. Okay. We have to leave it here now. Thank you very much, Charles Ideho, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Oladun Diario, thank you so much for coming as well. Thank you. Right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. We are streaming live on YouTube. You can also connect with us on Twitter using the hashtag TVC Breakfast.